Today we're getting into the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news, including a first look at the Tesla Semi production interior, Apple's big new Ultra products coming soon, CarPlay leaked in Tesla's UI, Tesla removing discounts, and more. So let's get into it, and a special thanks to Monarch for sponsoring this video. First up today, over at Tesla, one of the big things for ownership there is software updates. And we often hear about the latest features coming out soon before they come out by people decompiling versions of the Tesla app. And with version 4.54.5 out now, there are three big updates coming. The first is vehicle-to-grid capability. PowerShare appears to be moving beyond just backing up your home. Strings here confirm live data for discharging power back to the grid, and then there will be grid events. These are specific high-demand scenarios like heat waves where Tesla Energy actually will pay you to push stored energy back to the grid. It will support this, and then eligibility checks are built in, where it scans your account for the Cybertruck and PowerShare hardware and Tesla Electric Plan enrollment. If you're eligible, you get notified and shown how to earn bill credits. Also, your vehicle-to-grid status will now get a dedicated row on the main energy screen, so you can watch it in real time. Then there's an opt-out toggle, so before a long drive, one button keeps all of your charge with the car. And then there are off-grid backup strings in there as well. The next big feature here is the Voyager Trip Planner. This is an internal code name for a completely overhauled trip planner within Tesla vehicles. It has a brand new API endpoint, and it's entirely separate from the current routing logic in Tesla vehicles. You already have multi-step planning, but this is going to include better multi-stop planning, elevation tracking, and weather integration, and it's all native. Now, it is worth noting that not every car will get this feature, and it likely requires AMD Ryzen infotainment or newer. But it should allow you to build a full itinerary on your phone and push it directly to the car's navigation. You can already do this, but it seems like it could get a lot better. The current version does leave some to be desired, so they're already improving this, but also likely taking aim at a better route planner. Then there are updates to Tesla Insurance coming, with a new swipeable banner carousel for managing multiple vehicles and policies. You'll also have native offline digital ID cards, so there's no PDF hunting when you get pulled over, and then a program selection feature. This may mean that Tesla is expanding insurance options. Now, at the same time that this big update is coming, the director behind all of Tesla's over-the-air updates has just left the company after 11 years. He started with a 5-person team and now has the infrastructure serving nearly 10 million vehicles. Here's his quote on joining, quote, "My ambitions at the time were simple: automate everything, pioneer software-defined vehicles, modernize apps and infrastructure." He also built the Robotaxi platform and said, "Then came our moonshot: create ride-hailing capability and bring it to the world in a way that has never been seen before. Quickly, we evolved from proof of concept to a full-blown production-ready solution." He said he's not leaving for another company, but, quote, "Human life's always been my North Star. Right now, I need to be with mines." Basically, he's stepping away to be with his family. So this departure seems a little different than some others, but it is interesting seeing the timing of all of these top people involved in these projects leaving Tesla right before they are being launched. Next up today, over at Apple, we have seen a lot of new products from them recently in their 3 days of product launches, and the most exciting one there for a lot of people is the new MacBook Neo, because it comes in at a price of $599 or $499 with Apple's education discount. But now, for the rest of the year, it seems like they're going in the complete opposite direction. In Mark Gurman's Power On newsletter, he confirmed that Apple is planning an all-new MacBook Ultra, or at least an Ultra type of device that might not have that exact name. It's not a MacBook Pro replacement, but one that sits above the current M5 MacBook Pros that they just announced. It would have an OLED display and a touchscreen, along with a totally new design and, of course, a higher price point. When Apple brought OLED to the iPhone X in 2017, prices went up by about 20%. The same happened with the iPad Pro when it got OLED, so it seems like similar might occur here. This is a device that we could see by the end of 2026, and it's pretty crazy to think that by the end of this year, we could have a touchscreen MacBook from Apple along with a folding iPhone. The other product we've heard about for quite some time is a new version of the HomePod that would include a screen. And now Apple is reportedly working on another smart home product, the HomePad. And a leaker that has reportedly seen this prototype in person has given us new details. Apparently this has a MagSafe-like magnetic snap-to-wall feature, so you slap it on your wall in that regard. It will have a doorbell integration built in, a 7-inch square display, a front-facing camera, and, of course, Apple Intelligence will be heavily integrated. The HomePad is the internal name, but it might not be the final name because it's such a different product, and I already got it confused between HomePod and HomePad. And fall of 2026 is the new expected launch time, even though this has been repeatedly delayed since 2025. Ultimately, this is something that makes sense for Apple. You have the people that want whatever the best version of their products is, so the MacBook Ultra will likely do quite well. And that comes after they already introduced a much cheaper version, a much cheaper laptop with the MacBook Neo that actually appeals to a lot of people. It will be pretty crazy though, because the current MacBook Pros top out around $3,500, so this could end up being about $4,000 plus. The HomePod is obviously Apple finally going after things like the Echo Show and the Google Nest, but with Apple Intelligence, hopefully it actually is good. I'm also curious about that snap-to-wall feature and how that will work, because some people have thought that should just be an iPad with MagSafe built in, but it seems like it's going to be a dedicated screen for this, so why would you be taking it around, I guess, to control different things, and then you just have to put it back at its home dock. My hope is that this is finally the thing that makes HomeKit a lot more standard. We now have the Matter standard across all smart devices, so hopefully a lot more devices will be supported with Apple HomeKit quite soon here, and Apple will actually have a speaker/screen that makes their whole system worthwhile and easy to set up for Apple users. Before we go any further, I want to thank today's sponsor, Monarch. Managing your personal finances can be difficult, mentally draining, and time-consuming, but Monarch Money makes it easy. Monarch seamlessly tracks all of your spending, credit score, and net worth in one easy-to-use dashboard to help you stay on top of your finances. Monarch syncs easily with over 13,000 financial institutions, including banks, credit cards, and brokerages, and displays that information in a private ad-free dashboard that works well on mobile and desktop. Then with AI-powered insights, Monarch can help explain spending increases, unusual transactions, or changes in your finances in plain English. They help to make budgeting and managing your finances easier than ever, which is helpful for staying on top of your payments and bills. If you're looking to make a big purchase, like I did recently with a new Model Y, then Monarch lays everything out plainly without bombarding you with notifications. Rules, categories, and summaries reduce my mental load while keeping me on track. To check out Monarch Money for yourself, click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen. Then be sure to use code SHAW50 for 50% off. Next up today, back over at Tesla, on the software side of things, Tesla has been working on a CarPlay integration for quite some time now, and rumor has it could be coming quite soon. This has been one of the most requested features from Tesla owners or people interested in buying a Tesla for a long time, and they've always pushed back. Elon's called it a privacy concern. Tesla has talked about how they prefer their own built-in software, but it seems like they're finally going for it. An image is leaked this week from Chinese social media that appear to show CarPlay running inside of a Tesla vehicle. The screenshot shows a split-screen implementation as expected, so CarPlay is running on one half of the display or a little more, and then Tesla's native UI is on the other part of the screen. The source is Chinese social media, and some people doubt this, but some also think it's legit. In any case, this is what it's expected to look like. You're not replacing Tesla's UI with CarPlay, you're running CarPlay alongside of it, just like another app built into Tesla's cars. And we've seen this happen a lot with Tesla, where something launches in China first, both on the software and hardware side of things. So they could integrate things like WeChat, Baidu Maps, and more very easily via CarPlay. But soon enough, it will come to the rest of the world. The one question this does raise is whether this is specific just to Apple. Are they just partnering for Apple CarPlay and that's what their focus is? Or are they opening this up to more third-party app integrations? In a sense, you'll open this up to a ton more apps in your Tesla screen by adding CarPlay. But then there's the question of Android. Will Tesla bring Android Auto? And then will they just open this up so more people can develop for their cars? I think overall that would be the better approach and would definitely line up with where they're headed in the future with a dedicated Robotaxi. But we'll have to see where this all goes, and first we need to see CarPlay actually launched in Tesla cars. It's overdue at this point. Next up today, there are a number of ways that Tesla will raise prices or decrease prices. And this past week, they in effect raised prices again, but through their referral program. And that's because for the Model Y and 3, they are still the same benefit. When you use someone's referral link, you'll get 3 months of full self-driving supervised for free. But there's no other benefit for purchasing with a link there. And now they have changed this for the rest of their cars. For the Cybertruck, you get 3 months of full self-driving supervised on only the premium all-wheel drive and Cyber Beast. So if you order the cheapest trim, there is no benefit to gain from using someone's referral link. Previously, the Cybertruck was a $1,000 discount, and then it was temporarily a $500 discount. The same is the case for the Model S and X, which are now completely removed from the referral program. Tesla is getting ready to wind these cars down in production, so now they've removed them entirely from the referral program, and there you only see the 3 cars that Tesla plans to make soon. On the other side, as someone referring, you will get $250 in Tesla credits for each referral of someone purchasing one of these cars. Next up today, over at Tesla, the Semi has been in limited production for a couple of years now, mostly fulfilling PepsiCo deliveries out of Giga, Nevada. But we've never really gotten a proper look at the production interior until now. They've now updated this car as a whole, and it's refreshed on the exterior as well as the interior. Here are new images from inside the Nevada factory showing the full production cab. It has a 10-camera setup around the cabin, so that's more than their other vehicles. And then, of course, it has dual 16-inch touchscreen displays. It's a very clean, minimal interior, and it's very untruck-like, with no analog gauges and no clutter there. So Tesla treated this like another Model S or Model 3. It's a blank slate with the screen coming first. The 10 cameras are of course set up for FSD in commercial trucking down the line, and I'm very curious to see when this would come to be. Tesla talked about this semi-convoy concept almost 10 years ago when they first announced the Semi, and still the Semi has not gotten FSD, so there's a lot to see here. In any case, Tesla opened their first Semi-Megacharger this week. This first supercharger specific to the Tesla Semi is online in Ontario, California, near Los Angeles. And this uses their megawatt charging system, MCS. But what's interesting is this one actually doesn't hit a megawatt. It goes up to 750 kilowatts and uses that MCS connector that is exclusive to their Semi. Up until now, Semis have only charged on private closed-loop routes like Semico's Sacramento Depot. But now, any Semi customer can pull into this charger off the highway and charge. It's just the first of many, but it's a big operational milestone. It means the Semi can start operating beyond dedicated fleet routes. Now that's actually the most expensive vehicle that Tesla sells today, but also in the truck space for them, and their now slightly cheaper vehicles, you have the Cybertruck. And I say now slightly cheaper because they are discontinuing the Model S and X, and they introduced that $60,000 Cybertruck, which has now increased its price to $70,000. In any case, Tesla has issued an official hardware recall on a batch of early 2024 Cybertrucks. The issue is a MOSFET component in the drive inverter that can fail and cause a sudden complete loss of propulsion while driving. If it happens at highway speed, you lose all torque and the car just stops pulling. This has been a known community issue for months, with people stranded on the side of the road and AC charging failing as well. So Tesla is replacing the affected inverters free of charge. If you're curious if your truck is affected, you can look up your VIN and compare it against the NHTSA recall filing. If you're in that range, Tesla will eventually reach out. It's worth noting that this is specific for early production Cybertrucks, and they've presumably fixed this issue in newer builds. And it's another example of why it's always good to wait for the later builds of a Tesla vehicle. Now, on what should be the cheapest side of things for Tesla, we have the Robotaxi. There's the Cybercab coming soon, which we'll talk about in a second, but unfortunately the Robotaxi network, operating with Model Ys over in Austin, Texas, has already seen a price increase. They raised the base fare in Austin from $1 to $3.25. Now, it is worth noting that $1 was never a real price. I'd see these people comparing the Robotaxi network pricing to an Uber today, and it just was a comparison that made absolutely no sense. This is a prototype network that they are trying to build out and get people to try. So that price we were seeing was a promotional price to get people to try it out. Now the base fare has increased its price, and still I'd argue it's probably not the real long-term price. It's very competitive with Uber and Lyft for a fully autonomous ride today, but we'll see if it increases over time. With that said, Tesla did feel confident enough to raise the price here, so the service must be doing well. For the dedicated Robotaxi, the Cybercab was spotted on the streets of Chicago this week, well outside of Austin and other areas. We're spotting these all over the place at this point, so they're doing a ton of real testing ahead of volume production. Of course, it just remains to be seen how the software catches up to it. Now, regarding Tesla's competitors, you have Zoox, and Amazon's Zoox has hit 1 million autonomous miles and 300,000 riders since launching in Las Vegas and San Francisco. In the same week as well, they expanded testing to Dallas and Phoenix and are launching a command hub in Arizona specifically. So they're quietly building a real operation, and what could be very big for Zoox is the Amazon logistics infrastructure operating underneath it. Now, at the same time, over at Waymo, they've introduced their 6th-gen Ojai fleet. These are robotaxi vehicles from China, and Zeekr builds the base vehicle there, then Waymo installs all of the hardware at their factory in Arizona. This is a big step because this is a vehicle much more dedicated to being a robotaxi, even though Waymo still has to install their own hardware onto these vehicles. Long term, it will be better when someone can spit a car directly out of the factory, made specifically for self-driving, and that's what Tesla plans to do here. But right now, we are seeing a number of different competitors, and there's really 3 right now, especially in the US. There's Tesla in Austin, Waymo in multiple cities, and Zoox expanding fast. Now, in regards to self-driving over at Tesla, they've now crossed 8.5 billion cumulative real-world miles on FSD. And that's a very big thing because no one else is close to this. Waymo is operating in geofenced cities, Zoox just hit 1 million miles, and Cruise has entirely ended. Tesla's approach is to ship FSD to as many customers as they can and then use that fleet as a data collector. And this has always been controversial, but it does seem to have the bigger potential long term. It's hard to argue with data from 8.5 billion miles. Now, of course, people will argue about sensors and things that Tesla still has not achieved that other companies have achieved, so there is plenty that remains to be seen here. But every Tesla vehicle that is sold improves the model and makes FSD better, so it is a compounding loop, assuming they can achieve it with AI and the camera sensors. Next up today, over in the humanoid robot space, Figure just released a new demo of the Helix 2 doing full end-to-end living room cleanup autonomously. Here you can see it walking around the room, picking up objects, manipulating tools and containers, and it cleans the whole room start to finish. Now, it is very funny to really look at this video, because yes, I totally recognize the technology that's happening here. It's actually thinking through what it's going to do, and it's able to clean up certain areas of this room. But first, this is just not a dirty room in any way, shape, or form. Then, if someone were to say that they cleaned a table, and do the cleaning job that this robot did, I think most people would take issue as to the effort that was put forth for that specific task. Then there are plenty of things that just don't make any sense. The fact that it puts this basket under its arm is just not how a human would do it, especially since it almost pours out the blocks that it is collecting. And then it goes through a number of tasks that would take a human probably 20 seconds, and it does it in about 2.5 minutes. But again, this is a demo, and that's how this technology works. It's very slow at first, and it does things that are very basic, but it learns in time and gets a lot better. Like I could give it these notes that I just talked about, and it could do it differently and better next time. And then, of course, you're not necessarily comparing apples to apples because maybe it would take you a total of 20 seconds to do this task. It does it in 2.5 minutes, but in the future, it will speed that up, and then it will be doing it while you're able to be doing something else. So there is a very competitive landscape for humanoid robots, and of course, Tesla's Optimus is a part of this. We haven't seen a new Optimus demo in a long time, so hopefully something new will come there. Next up today, over at Tesla, we have the Tesla Roadster, and it seems like this could actually be coming. They filed a new patent for a one-piece molded seat design specifically cited for the next generation Roadster. This design integrates the headrest, seat back, and bottom cushion as a single structural piece, so it makes it lighter, stronger, and simpler to manufacture. It looks very different from anything in the current lineup from Tesla, and just seeing this is kind of a good sign that maybe this car is actually coming out. Essentially, the Roadster has been vaporware for so long that any signal of active engineering is worth noting here. They've talked about this since 2017, and it's always coming next year and just a little delayed, but it's very much not their priority, even though they still say that they're going to make it. Of course, a patent doesn't mean it's actually launching, but it tells you the team is designing and not just sitting on the concept. We'll see if anything comes to be here. Last up today over at Tesla, their most exciting car for many people is the Model Y L, and this is now expanding globally. The Model Y long wheelbase version, which is a 6-seater, has been a hit over in China since it launched. Two markets are now confirmed to be getting this soon. South Korea, which has a regulatory filing, and then Tesla Australia officially announced it's coming to Australia and New Zealand this year. In Australia, SUVs dominate, and the Model Y actually dominates as well, so this will likely be huge. But of course, this raises the question, when will this be coming to the United States? Elon Musk indicated it won't be coming until the end of this year, so hopefully it will actually come this year. I think it will be extremely popular here. And finally, Tesla will have a car that actually competes on price and space with things like the Kia EV9 and the Hyundai Ioniq 9. That's all the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to see the top reasons to still buy a Tesla today, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.